words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the bureau. But here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you.
That is the verdict. Not a question, not an accusation, a verdict, read aloud by a United States Senator before a room full of cameras, directly to the FBI director's face. What makes it devastating is not the emotion behind it. It is the 8 specific charges that came before it. Senator Cory Booker spent 13 minutes building a documented legal case, charge by charge, before he ever delivered that conclusion. And what happened after he delivered it is what turned this hearing into something the United States Senate has rarely seen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey is a former mayor of Newark, a city where he worked alongside FBI field offices on violent crime and public corruption. He did not come here to perform. He came with 8 distinct charges, organized, sequenced, each one making the next harder to refute. What you are about to watch is not a confrontation. It is a prosecution. The open question is whether any of the 8 charges will produce consequences, or whether Booker's prediction is correct, that Donald Trump will make that decision himself on his own timeline. By the end of this video, you will have heard every charge, every non-answer, and why Booker ended 13 minutes of documented argument with a prayer.
Mr. Patel, I want to start off where we left off last time. I asked you whether you had any knowledge or discussions about removing FBI officials and installing political personnel before you were confirmed to that position.
Did I have discussions with the White House to remove FBI personnel?
Yes.
No.
So you're saying that you had no discussions with the White House before you were in the position about the removal of any personnel from the agency?
As I was preparing for my confirmation hearing, I had numerous discussions involving the type of people that would be employed, and that those that were failing to meet the mark at the FBI would no longer be employed if I were confirmed.
And I'm assuming that mark had to do with loyalty to the Trump administration.
No, you're wrong.
Okay. Charge 1. Patel said no when asked whether he discussed removing FBI personnel with the White House before confirmation. Then he immediately described having numerous discussions about who would and would not be employed if he were confirmed. A yes answer to the second question is a no answer to the first, or it is a very careful definition of what removing FBI personnel means. Booker let it stand and moved to charge 2, because charge 2 was the one he had brought documents for.
Excuse me, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
He said he released it. That is a specific factual claim made under oath before the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Booker had checked.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said there.
He did not say yes. He did not say no. He said the transcript is the best evidence, and then pointed to a transcript that does not publicly exist. The court ruling Booker referenced said the opposite of what Patel needed it to say. A federal court confirmed that under the federal rules of criminal procedure, a grand jury witness, specifically Patel, is not barred from discussing their own testimony. There is no legal obstacle. There is only a choice, and Patel was choosing not to make it.
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
Because the premise of your question is inaccurate.
The premise of the question is inaccurate, not the answer to the question, not the facts of the question, the premise. That response, used twice in this hearing, is the verbal equivalent of refusing to enter a plea. It sounds like engagement, but contains no information. It neither confirms nor denies. It does not identify which premise is inaccurate or why. It is a sentence constructed to take up time without making a statement that can be verified or contradicted. Booker noted it and moved to charge 3.
You promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful.
Charge 3. Not a policy disagreement. A direct statement that Patel lied under oath. In a Senate hearing, that sentence lands like a filing. And Booker did not stop there. Because charge 4 came with a name.
A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025. And in that letter, you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States. And so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Brian Driscoll, 20 years of service, Medal of Valor. The special agent in charge of the Newark field office, Booker's home city. Patel fired him. In the termination letter, he cited Article 2 of the Constitution, the article that establishes executive branch powers. The president operates under Article 2. The FBI director does not have independent Article 2 authority. When Booker asked for the legal basis, Patel said it was under litigation. He will not discuss it. That is now the official record of what the FBI director says about why he fired a Medal of Valor recipient after 20 years of service.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Charge 5. Stephen Miller is a White House political advisor, not a law enforcement official, not in the FBI chain of command. Patel speaks to him frequently. When asked if Miller gives opinions on running the agency, Patel reframed it as interagency operations, then confirmed he also frequently discusses his work with Pam Bondi. The picture across charges 1 through 5. An FBI director, who had pre-confirmation personnel discussions with the White House, refuses to answer what he told a grand jury, fired a 20-year Medal of Valor veteran under a constitutional authority he does not possess, and takes regular input from a political operative. That picture was about to get a number attached to it.
Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of masked law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely false.
Have there been any FBI agents who investigate
no.
foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't
Charge 6, 20%. That figure comes from the Cato Institute, not a left-wing advocacy group, a libertarian-leaning conservative think tank. 1 in 5 FBI agents pulled from their primary investigative work to support immigration enforcement operations. Booker asked specifically about agents assigned to crimes against children, child exploitation, trafficking, abuse, being reassigned to stand alongside ICE. Patel's answer was to begin a sentence he did not finish, then say, "America is safer." He did not say no.
I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge. 20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it.
Charge 7. That 14-year number came from Patel himself, in this hearing, in sworn testimony to Senator Coons. 14 years to fill the vacancies that exist right now in the FBI. Vacancies that Booker argues are in large part the result of Patel's own purge. The task forces Booker names are specific: election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. When those units are disbanded or depleted, the beneficiaries are not abstract. Booker named them directly: corrupt people, criminals, Vladimir Putin. He did not ask a question. He delivered a finding. And then came Charge 8, and the verdict.
You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans. In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term He is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country.
Generational destruction. That is not Booker's phrase. He is quoting a former FBI official, someone who built their career inside the institution, using those specific words to describe what they are watching happen to the bureau they served. Booker read it into the congressional record. And then he did something no other senator has done in this series of hearings. He told Patel directly, "You will not last." Donald Trump does not keep people around. The history of Trump's first term is a long list of people who believed their loyalty would protect them, and it did not. Booker was not threatening Patel. He was predicting. And he closed with a prayer. Not because he believes prayer will change Patel's behavior, but because after 8 charges and 13 minutes of documentation, a prayer is the only thing left to offer a man you have already concluded is beyond persuasion. And then Patel spoke.
That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is my time.
I follow you on your social media posts that tear this country apart.
To address your falsehoods.
Oh, you can try all you want
in this country.
to not take responsibility for what you have said.
Time.
Sir, you're
your
making a mockery of this committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
the
know
people of New Jersey tell me what my time is. You can't lecture me.
You can tell me my time's over.
You may be the charge of the
I'm
FBI,
not going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you.
He called it a rant of false information. That word, false, is specific. After 13 minutes in which Booker cited a federal court ruling, a signed termination letter with a constitutional citation, a sworn confirmation hearing statement, a federal court complaint, and a statistic from a conservative think tank, Patel's response was not to identify which item was false. It was to name the category. Rant of false information. If any of those items are wrong, the place to say so is under oath, on the record, with specifics. Patel chose not to, and Booker's response was not to argue. 3 words. "I am not afraid," said to his face, in the United States Senate, on the record.
Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth talking over each other doesn't work, and I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond, and he has the privilege to do that uninterrupted.
If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrested them? Why have we 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year? 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we are taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the deaths of 607,000 people this year alone, a failure of the FBI and my leadership? How